Hello and welcome to episode 27 of our Timberborn 1.0 full release playthrough with the Folktales faction here on the Down the Plug Hole map cycle 37 day 5. Last time we fiddled with the rafts a little bit, started moving some food distribution and food production around, and we're gonna do some more of that, but we have a couple of other fun things to try based on your suggestions, and I think we're finally going to make some headway on a few others as well. But first of all, a whole bunch of you guys said something to the effect of, well, why don't you just put in some raft guides on the other side of this thing so that the rafts don't flow all the way past? And you know what? You guys are pretty smart. So what I would like to do is exactly that, provided I can get this to play nice, and it looks like I can. The idea, of course, is that this picks everything up, but we all know that's not exactly guaranteed, right? But we can do our best. Thank you, autosave. I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal, but I do want this to be able to maintain what it's supposed to be doing. Am I going to be able to put these up against here? I don't think it'll let me. No. But these on the backside will at least prevent nonsense from happening to the degree that I think it's going to be necessary. And, you know, it's cheap. Really doesn't matter if it doesn't do anything, because who cares? But that's going to be good insurance. I saw a hilarious idea in the comments, which was, what if we put a Lido, or multiple Lidos, underneath where we have all this stuff going down? So, you know, I had to say yes, because honestly, that's hilarious, and I love it to pieces. But I'm going to have to probably modify this idea a little bit. I don't know exactly what the best way to accomplish this is going to be, because, you know, buildings can't be flooded, the entrances can't, or they're not going to work. And this isn't really going to be deep enough unless I came in, like, maybe right about here? Or maybe here if I moved it. No, I couldn't move it up. It would have to be on this level. Yeah, so I think if I just did this, that might be about the best I can really do. But we need to see how far this goes, because it does have to clear this. Yeah, we'll call it good enough. And I'll stick that right there. You know, is it perfect? No. But it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. It's objectively dumb, but hey, you know, I'll take it. Somebody else said we could probably put in water wheels here, and, you know, you're probably right. But we already have this set up, and I think it's working okay. Wow, that one went like end over end. That was kind of neat. Oh, you know what? This would be a good opportunity for us to make just a little bit of a modification here. And then put in one of these sideways diagonal things. I think that's going to make more sense, because we do want to avoid stuff getting stuck here. That was the first one I saw that kind of lingered there. Maybe it's not that big of a deal, but I do want to be prepared, right? Being prepared is always good. But they're not going to do this because it's a 14-hour workday. I do think that was the right call, lowering the working hours, because now our well-being average is up to 55, which, hey, that's pretty good. There's obviously still some work to do. But I think if we're going to keep the work hours lowered, it is probably about time to do some bots. And I hear you. I hear you. Those of you who say, no, don't do bots. Bots ruin everything. Well, I'm not going to agree with you on that, just objectively. But I do hear you. And I think it is worth exploring in a limited, for this playthrough, a limited context, the stuff on the outskirts like we kind of talked about. But to do that, we're going to have somewhere to put all the factory parts. And, you know, we are still sending all the logs and things to get done here, and that will use more materials, and that'll actually justify the rafts, so on and so forth. So that probably is going to be one of the projects we're going to get started with today, but I just want to make sure I don't forget about this. And let's put in diagonal raft guide there, just as a little bit of extra insurance. And I don't think it's going to go far enough this way to be a problem. We just want to make sure that that is taken care of. Nothing's gathering here. I don't think there's anything gathering underneath, because they should all get picked up. Yeah. So, that is A-OK. Yet another person said, well, why don't you just put one of those... That's not the right one. Why don't you put one of those zipline stations right outside? And, you know, it's another instance of I can't believe I didn't think of that. But we can definitely do that. In fact, I'm going to pop that right there. These aren't actually connected to anything, so except each other, so I figured that would be a decent way to incorporate this. You know, make things just a little bit better, a little bit easier. That is the goal, after all. So, zipline station here. Get that connected to there. And Bob's your uncle, etc. So, in terms of doing bot things, we don't have to have everything in the exact same place, but I do like symmetry, if you haven't guessed by this point. And I think depending on how we want to go about doing this, there may be a way to tie this in and have it look kind of decent. And oh, cool, 58. I did have power provisions made. Yeah, see, it comes up over here, and this on this side. Get that back up all the way. So I could put stuff right on this area here. I think that's probably going to be the best option, but to do that, we have to be able to get up here and remove all these trees. So let's just remove the temptation to retain literally any of this and just set it and forget it. Ron Popeil, etc. Where am I going to get these guys up here? Probably the easiest way to do this is just carve this out and pop in a staircase. Let them get up there, and then if we peel this back, what's it look like? Come on. Yeah, okay. I think just a simple bot setup. It's going to be 3 of these, 1 for each part, and then 2 assemblers. We also are going to have to make stuff in the refinery, which, remember, I said when and if we get around to bots, that is where a lot of the spatterdock is going to go. Which means we would need to have more rafts for that. We can get there. I know this, again, it's a process. I don't have to say the rest of that because you already know what it is. But I trust that you understand and appreciate what we're going for here. We do have to do what we have to do. So, the way that this has been laid out, first of all, I need to make sure I can actually get these guys most of these places that I want them to go. And then it may be time to come over here and just clean cut all of this. Remember what I said? We want a set of 3 of these. I got 1, 2. Oh, that doesn't line up very nicely now, does it? But 3 of these would go very nicely right here. Storage is notwithstanding. We'd have to find a place to put those. Then the assemblers could go somewhere else, or they could just go straight on top like I typically do. Honestly, that might be the best way to do it. And we just have to have all these materials coming in. But those could easily just come into the same dock if they're staffed correctly. And I think that is going to be the way to go about it. So we're going to let them do what they got to do. How many times have I said that? But it bears repeating. I am curious to see if anyone's going to use this while we have rafts coming through, because that would be a very funny photo opportunity. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Yeah, see, nobody's here, but this does... It does clear. It is objectively kind of funny. Yes. Over here. I see you. I hear you. The problem has been solved. Let's see. Oh, they can't reach this, huh? Too far away. Well, not anymore. Go on and grab that. Get that thing out of here. And part of what I want to do for the sake of symmetry, yes, things don't always have to be symmetrical, but in my opinion, it's better when they are. So we're going to allow them to have some success there. I think that's enough. And then, you know, I should have doubled these. Actually, no, because I didn't know which ones were going to actually be doubleable. Okay, so that's 3, 6, 9. You know the rest. Or maybe you don't. That's honestly probably better, depending on your musical taste. get that out of my head and then move on. I've got all of these things here that have to still get put in place. And then, you know, if things got really, really dicey with the bots, then I could make a second little factory thing over here. But I think perhaps, depending on what we're trying to do, maybe a refinery would make sense over here. Or since these don't have to be powered, this actually would not be a bad place to put... Oh, maybe it would. To put one of these, maybe two of them. Because we do need to make catalyst and fuel. And I'm aware that in terms of the ease of getting stuff done, the potatoes is the better recipe. However, we got a lot of spatterdock we're not doing anything with, except, you know, grilling it. And while that's all well and good, sometimes it's fun to just do things because you can. K for kaboom. And that one as well. And now, please, nobody get exploded. It'll be very sad. Alright, problem solved. That goes away. Now this is going to be a very simple setup. Should not have any issues on the backside there. Just get that covered up. Let's get this bot part factory unlocked. 1, 2, and then remove that. The backside of this does conduct power on both sides, on all three of those second story tiles, but the sides and the front do not in the same manner. So we know we can do this, get this popped in like so, take those corners out. And then, like I said, bot assemblers on top. We can very easily just face those in the center like that, and depending on how we want to play our cards here, we can either have a staircase around the outside, which probably should have been how we decided to do this all along. But I think I'll make this a whimsical setup here. And, you know, actually we have an opportunity to do something somewhat interesting by putting that there. Bringing this to that spot. This could be storage for one of these types of things, either the chassis, the arms, or the head, or the limbs. I'm sorry, they're not all arms. Or the heads, or I've already got punch card storage. That's probably okay. Let's actually take this off at triple speed because I think I'm going to run out of temperate season before we can actually get started with any of this. What do I want to do? Yeah, see, I don't really have a lot of other options here. I can't fit that there. That's not gonna be great. Now, if I were to do this right in the center, I think, even though, you know, it's not the best overall layout, I'm gonna do it anyway. So, heads, chassis, limbs. How about some more limb storage just because we can? Call that good enough. And then, since, you know, decoration is fun, why don't we do a little beaver statue here? Even though the bots don't get well-being bonuses. Until we have bots, guess what? Beavers have to work here. So we're going to leave that alone. Remember that these each have components for recipes, all of which, save for the actual fuel, are already stored very close nearby. So, we don't really need to do that much extra work. We just need to have some sort of fuel being produced in the refinery, or a refinery. I could do something like this, put a 2x2 in there. See, this isn't really a great setup. I mean, it's not the worst thing I've ever made, by far. But it's not the best. Why don't we do this? Let's put that there. Not going to be the only one we do, but for right now, it's what we have. Let's pop that here. We're going to make this into the spatterdock biofuel. Make this into biofuel. And then that's going to get us started. And yes, because we love symmetry, or I do at least, you might hate symmetry. You know what? Live your dreams. Believe what you want to believe. I'm not your dad. But I like that. I like symmetry. I think it's fun. So let's just go ahead and let this be what it's going to be. This recipe, can't show you until it's actually done, but this recipe does require extract and it requires maple syrup. Which, in theory, I don't think we're going to need a second set of things here, so why don't we do this? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Cut this out. I'll put big tanks here. That's probably going to be good enough. We'll call it good enough. Get that out of here. And then we need to bring in Spatterdock. Well, we don't have to, but it'll go a little smoother if we do. In the interest of getting this done a little bit more quickly, I'm going to have this be a Spatterdock receptacle area. Let them do that, and then we need to come over here. If I can remember where we are. And since this is already right here, we can just set another dispatch. I love how this mod works. This is such a good way to do this. But we can just send deliveries of Spatterdock, which, why not? I don't think it needs to be full. We might have to tweak this. But I don't want to outpace the consumption. Actually, you know what? We're not cavemen. We have technology. We can just look at this. Every 3 hours, this will consume, assuming 100% efficiency, 2 Spatterdock. So if we have a dispatches, and we can adjust the intervals. But if we just adjust dispatches to be every 3 hours, then every 3 hours, we'd have to send 2 Spatterdock. Or we can have it be every 6 and send 4. 12, send 8, so on and so forth. I think 12 sending 8 is probably going to be the better option here. So let's come back in. Every 12 hours. What a great idea. What a great idea this is. And then we'll send... I guess I'm just assuming this weighs 1 kilogram. I mean, all the things do have a weight value assigned because the haulers take that into account, but we're just going to call that good enough. Did I do my math wrong? Okay, well, you know what? I don't think it's going to matter. Spatterdock. Hit save. And then that will be okay. I'm liking that. I think that's pretty cool. Okay, that's waiting to get finished. Let's let them do all that they can. Hit K for kaboom. Do it all over again instead of sending somebody up on stairs because you know how that goes. Okay, we got beavers working here. These need to be the first things that we automate. Chassis, limbs, and head. No word on shoulders, knees, and toes, though. So I'm going to, I guess, just hope that these get done soon so we can put actual bots in there. Well-being goes up to 59. But in terms of buildings that are actually going to be run by bots, remember what I said about the outlying areas? This is the kind of stuff that should all be bots. One, it keeps the beavers closer, doesn't make them go out quite as far, and 2, it makes it possible for us later to completely disconnect these and make them their own districts, so long as they have juice and all of that. But we will need to put in infrastructure like tanks for putting all of the fuel and stuff in when the time comes, but we're not quite there yet. We'll get there. Remember, we're trying to do a whole bunch of different stuff. Alright, so this is ready to go. K for kaboom. Let's get this squared out. And then, of course, I'm going to put... I guess maybe I should put 3 tanks in. Then I can have also a fuel one. And we'll just go bam, bam, bam. Remember that the ingredients right here are going to be maple syrup and extract. And then I suppose I can have this be for fuel. Catalyst for right now is not going to be as big of a deal, and we probably will need to have some other refineries. We can worry about that later. For now, we are just attempting to get something accomplished here. The heads are waiting for... Shouldn't actually matter that much. Anyway. These are paused by automation, so that's fine. Don't think we need to worry about that quite yet. Do we actually have spatterdock coming in? What is this? Oh, that's just straight up logs. That's wheat flour. That is... We should not have wheat and wheat flour making their way down here. But there is spatterdock, so that does seem to be working. I went the wrong way. I want to be looking up here. That is wheat. That's spatterdock. All right, cool. Let's follow this because we can. And while we do, we might as well talk about what's going to happen with these rafts. I really like the idea of the raft roller coaster that I talked about last episode, but I don't think I have the time to do that in this series without it just really derailing things. So I'll tell you what. I'm going to make a soft commitment to having that be a live stream. Oh, that's getting caught in here. Oh, that's not what I wanted. That is not what I wanted. I didn't want that to go... Okay. Okay, so what is... That's just wheat flour. You know, I should have seen that. I should have seen that coming. Maybe I can't have a smart gate for this, can I? I am so curious about the possibility of doing smart gates for rafts. I don't know that I could figure that out, and I know I stopped in the middle of what I was saying. But hold up, because this had spatterdock in it, so I know at least one reached here. Because these are both coming out of the same one. I could make a ramp up here and just blast it way past this. But because these are all coming from the same place, I didn't think it was going to be an issue. This doesn't have spatterdock in here. They're just taking it out and moving it somewhere else. But how did I get spatterdock in this if it's getting intercepted at that first thing? That's wheat flour. I guess I just have to wait for one of these to come by that actually has spatterdock on it. Yeah, see this one. So it's getting past. I don't know why or how that happened, but it seems like it's kind of taken care of itself, problem-wise. Anyway, we have a bot. So I'm going to say... Oh, I do have the science. I'm going to unlock the bot assemblers for bots first. Because that is, well, should be pretty obvious. Oh, I was in the middle of what was I saying? Oh yeah, putting in multiple raft jumpy things. I'm not going to make a hard commitment to it, but in a live stream that could be a fun way to kill an hour or two. So we'll see. If I have the ability and the time to work that in, I do want to do that because that sounds like marvelous fun. But for the interest of this playthrough not going completely off the rails or the raft guides, as it were, I think we can put that to bed for now. All of that being said, there was one more thing that I completely forgot that I did last episode, and that was I made this baked potatoes instead of wheat flour. I really don't know how that happened. Wait, no, that's wheat flour. Maple pastries and... It was supposed to be bread. That's what happened. That's what happened, because the bread is here and the baked potato. Okay. Well, so that's been fixed. Thank you for letting me know about that. We still don't have another bot assembled. That's 2%, really? Okay, that one's at 40-something%. That's fine. I guess when this one is done, I'll just change both of these. And then we're going to have to start building out infrastructure. Are we making catalyst? We are. This seems to be going pretty well. I guess I don't really have any complaints. But we do need to stay on top of this, at least for the first little bit. I don't know if there is a way with automation to convert buildings to be bot employers instead of beaver employers. Maybe the population counter does it? I haven't messed with that. There's no harm in unlocking it. And I know it has to be attached to a thing. District mode. So that runs based off of free beds, bots. So if there's more than so many bots, less than so many bots, then this will turn on and then that will activate a function. But I don't see a way to change the state of a building to be bots. Maybe it's possible with a HTTP something or other. I don't know if you know, and I do expect that at least one or two of you in the comments will have sufficient knowledge to tell me whether or not this is possible. Do let me know. That would be a very interesting way to incorporate automation, but for now, let's get that out of here. We've got a bad tide coming in. I'm going to make this bots here. Got 2 bots here. They just made a third, which means this one's already there. Good. Good, good, good. So that is working decently well. We're about to have a bad tide, which means no water coming through here, which means no rafts, which means they just have to take zip lines, which is honestly fine. Let's start the process. I need to use my correct words here of doing all of this. This is going to be poisoned basically no matter what. But because of how this is set up, maybe I should go ahead. I'm going to change this. And again, there's not really a huge basis for doing this. But if I replace this, then what I can do is I can actually remove this, and I can have this be completely taken in by the contamination barriers, which will save us a little bit of grief. I don't think it's really that big of a deal, to be perfectly honest with you, but I am interested in making this as not stupid as possible. I know that might catch some of you by surprise, but it is what it is. I only have so many days, though, so I'd like to get a little bit more of this taken care of. We'll see what happens. I should have tanks set up in this general area. I don't think I can get one. Oh, I can? Really? That seems, you know, unenviable, having to fly directly over a cauldron of super toxic stuff, even if it is fuel. But, you know what? That's not the tab key. You know what? That's fine. I'm just going to have some sort of tanks near one of these zipline stations, make it a little bit easier for everybody. And just do what you got to do. One there. How about, since this is going to be pretty dry most of the time anyway, if I get rid of that, and I get rid of that, just make it nice and easy for us. Scrap metal, scrap metal. Do I want to move one of these over here? Treated planks. You know what? I don't need to demolish that. What I will do... Do I even need this path? No. I don't need this. I don't need to make this any more complicated than it already is. And to be honest, it's really not that complicated. But, you know how this goes. Come on, click. Thank you. What was in here? Scrap metal. This is treated planks. I don't think it really matters. Yeah, let's just do scrap metal here. I'm going to get rid of that. This also isn't running all the time anyway, so if it loses a tiny bit of efficiency, then that is fine. I'm not going to say perfect, but we'll let it do what it's got to do. Still haven't done that, but that's done, which is encouraging. I did want to have this complete, so why don't we, for now, get this. I guess for these trees, you do have to give it maximum priority, or it's never going to care. Where is my foresters not set to replant? Now it is. Replant dead trees not marked for cutting. Wait, why? So why is this not replanted these? Because they're marked for... Maybe it was fine after all, and I just didn't have this replanted because they hadn't been cut because they hadn't needed to be cut. I don't know, man. I just work here. There we go. There we go. Just do this for me. Can you do that? Let's get these things out of here so I can get the rest of my contamination barriers in place. I don't think it's going to happen in the next 0.9 days, but we can try. You can always try. Sometimes that's all you can do. Alright, get that, get that, get that, get that, get that, get that. I do have to leave the stairs here until all these are done because, well, obviously, then I can take those out and I can put that last piece there and it should, I think, be okay. I say as I sit here waiting and I have all these bots that are not doing anything. Let's change these lumberjack flags to, come on, to bots. Keep in mind these are still automated to the storage fullness metric, which means as these are not necessary, the bots can, you know, go do other stuff. Let's go ahead and just make the foresters for bots. They've actually made... Oh, now the workday's over. I was going to say they've made some good progress, but now this isn't going to be done. Oh well. I wanted to give the beavers a little bit better work-life balance. This is the Folktales playthrough, after all. It's not the Iron Teeth, where we try to do them 30-hour work days if we can. 11 unstaffed buildings. That's probably all those builders' huts and hauling posts and all that. 13 injured beavers. No, well, now it's 12. Now it's 11. That number should go down quite a lot when we get to this bad tide here and stuff starts to be more and more automated. But I do see the 55 vacancies. See, there's a reason for bots. You don't have to completely have them take over everything, but they can make things just a little bit better. Now let's see, how long is this? 7 days. Alright. Now, since this got put in and this got put in, I don't know that this is going to be contaminated at all. This will probably still be contaminated. We will see. It doesn't look like this is contaminated, and this piece comes out to the corner here, so maybe it's actually okay. We'll give it a little bit more time, because I know this is going to get sufficiently potent after a while. Yeah, see, it's slowly creeping in here. Maybe it's fine. Maybe. Okay, we've got some catalyst there. This is... Okay, they're still building this. Alright, this isn't going to have water because... Yep, that's exactly what I thought. Everything else is... Oh, it's doing something here. Maple syrup. Somehow we still do not have enough maple syrup. Despite all of this being maple trees. Okay, cattail crackers have not been moved. I said that I was going to do that in a future episode, and now I don't know if that's going to be today. But maple trees are doing maple tree things. I could probably plant, and probably should plant, more of those across the way over here. That's not the right building. There we go. No, that's the wrong button as well. Good job. Let's do this. Because we have the ability to do this, and because it is necessary. Something, JFK speech. Yeah, I'm just gonna do this. I'm just gonna have them plant all these maples. Is any of this marked for cutting? I don't think so. It's hard to tell when you have the tree ghosts here. How are we looking here? Oh, okay, yep, see, that's still contaminated. Alright. Do we really need to do this way? No, but I'm going to anyway. Because why not? I can't get down here. Well, I can't get down here for any of that anyway. So maybe it doesn't matter, but this will certainly help a tiny bit. Alright, this is emptying out. They are filling that thing super fast. As long as this gets empty enough for me not to feel bad about getting rid of it. Look at them go. Look at them go. They're just swarming in here. You know, we might actually be okay. Just bring it on out. No, I didn't want to click on you. Come on, show me those zeros. Oh, come on. Come on, 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 come on. There's 3 left. Now there's 1. There we go. Good. Problem solved. And away we go. Let's do... I guess it doesn't really matter. Catalyst and fuel, where they go. That is fine. So I've got 1 there. I've got 1 there. It's basically going to be just this corner for now. In theory, we could have everything else taken care of. Mine is a dangerous job, so let's automate that. It's not automated, I know. It's just, look, I've been calling to that for years. Automation is a separate thing. We have bot control, which I don't think I need to have 5 in here doing this. Since it's bots, I'm going to cut it down to 2. We'll call that good enough. I've got a bot there. I'm going to have a bot there. There and there. We will slowly, in due time, get there. Okay, that solved most of these problems. That's fine. That's doing what it's got to do. Seems like that is going okay. What's on this? Wheat flour. Do I have one of these that is doing spatterdock? No, that's wheat. That is also wheat. That's spatterdock. Alright. Got 5 days left. No rafts is what it is. This is still filling up enough. We haven't done anything with this. And I did have somewhat of an idea to take the extra here and keep pumping it into using an not an aquifer, a set of these mechanical pumps. Keep pumping it from here into this area to keep flushing things down, or at least coming here. I don't know how viable of an idea that is, but I guess since, you know, I always say it's a let's play, not a watch me play, I'll ask you guys, do you want to see that? Because I never, ever, ever mess with these mechanical fluid pumps, but they're pretty powerful. They don't move a ton just by themselves, but if you have enough, we could pretty easily make an aqueduct to go from here over to about here, and then keep this area flowing at the very least. Make a little channel or something, and then keep this active, keep these water wheels going. It's not going to generate more power than it consumes, but even right now, we're still generating some because we have these. And don't forget, we have all of this power that is not connected to anything else. We just have this whole mess that is connected all the way through here, but it stops right here at the carousel. And we already have that same power all the way back here. So it would not be that hard to get power over to this area, just for the sake of having it be a straight shot. Over to about here, pumped up into a little channel, and then down here. Or if you're feeling really adventurous, we could have it go all the way up to, say, somewhere around here, and keep these channels flush at all times. Up to you guys. You want to see me do it? I'll do it. If you say, no, that's a huge waste of time, then, well, I might still do it if I want to, but I'll consider that. So, we've got 4 days left in this drought here. Drought, bad tide. Absence of water. And I think that was a really bad time for me to have to pause so I can cough and get a drink of water. But I think we're probably going to want to wrap this episode up about the end of this bad tide. Do a little bit more to get this ready for more bots. Check out a couple of jobs and then go from there. Now this fluid dump probably should be automated. But for now we're going to have it set to bots. This does not need to be taken care of that same way. This, neither does this, because that's got a spring there. So I have one of those over here. I do not. I do have some of these things up here, but we haven't gotten to this part yet. I'm going to tell you what. Let's take a platform here and pop a depth sensor here. have this set to turn on when this gets down to about 0.5. And then... this really should be on a timer, 'cause we've had so much grief with this in previous playthroughs. So I'll humor you, and I'll put this on a timer's just not. But if it's a bot, it doesn't matter. I'll just put it on a timer. I'm gonna automate this to the timer. The timer is going to be okay. Delays A on. I don't want it to be delayed, but I do want that to be. Wait a second. Did I already forget how to do this? T1. Oh, I don't want it to be. No, wait, no, this has to be... This has to... Okay, so A is... No. How... God. Look, folks, I'm trying. I really am. I feel like maybe I'm trying to do this backwards. This state turns this on. Oh, God. What does accumulator do? On if A is on for at least a total of... No. Pulse? On for T1 after A switches on. Okay, no. Oscillator, accumulator, random, no. See, I don't want this. I want this... You know what? Forget it. I'm not gonna sit here and waste anybody's time any more than I already have. If the depth sensor is below this, then it's going to be on. Wait, no, I have this backwards. The really bad thing is I already figured this out like 2 playthroughs ago, and then I didn't keep doing it, so I completely forgot. Do I have any of the rest of these automated? That's set to Gary. Maybe I should just set this to Gary as well. Where is Gary 2, anyway? Is this Gary 2? It is. Activates during bad tides. But I don't know. Okay, no, that's the different thing. I don't want that to activate when Gary. I want this to activate when it's low. So, you know, there really isn't any purpose to having this automated at all, because it'll just always be... You know what? Alright, forget it. Forget it. Well, that successfully wasted 2 minutes of everybody's time. Anyway, that was not the intention. That's just... It's just how it goes. And I don't ever take stuff out of these. Probably should, but I digress. That is fine there. That's a bot. I already botted those. The raft dock would be a great thing to have bots working. So that's already done. That's already done. Those I know we already fixed. That's this entire corner pretty much. Maybe we should also do the farming area. Or since I have so many extra bots, let's just do this. We probably could just have the bots only for the time being be the timber industry. Well, that gets us most of the way there. We'll call that good enough for now, especially considering everything. This can still be regular beavers. This is okay. You know, I don't know that there's that much else that I want to do. I know I have this over here that's... Why is this... Alright. I forgot about that being there. Should I... You know, I probably should. Have this be... what's the word I'm looking for? Pollution proof. Let's do that, because I know I'm going to forget otherwise. Let's just get these out of here. If I have this go all the way across, for the most part, at least it should be okay. I'm not going to be able to get through the center here. But that's fine. Do I need to have this small tank of water here? I don't think that I do. Let's just get rid of that. Let's put that there. This will not be the perfect solution, but it will help. It'll get us most of where we need to go. We can just set that and forget it. I got 1.1. I have to censor myself. I am displeased that I already forgot how to do that, but that's the way it goes. Yeah, we only have 1 day left of this bad tide. I think it's about time for us to do the end of episode stuff. But again, let me know. Do you want to see the mechanical water pump powered aqueduct to keep this whole river filled up enough during droughts, during bad tides? Or do you think that's a waste of time? I do always appreciate your input. I always appreciate you watching these videos too. And of course the beard boosters who subsidize everything. I talked about it every single video, but I'm not going to stop because they're basically the whole reason why this channel can be the way it is. Where I don't have to take sponsors and I don't have to worry quite so much about upsetting the apple cart of the algorithm. I do still have to, you know, try to maintain a regular schedule, but truly, those folks who are constantly supporting, making it possible to keep things going, I really, really appreciate you. And even if you're not on that list, I'm still glad you're here, and I'm thankful that you choose to spend a little bit of time with me today, playing with beavers on the internet and just having a good time without a whole bunch of nonsense. So, whatever it is you're doing with the rest of your day, stay safe, have fun, and we will see you again soon for more beavers. Take care, friends. Bye-bye.